What's up, everybody? My name is Ryan Thomas. You're tuning into the Thomas Take Sports Podcast live on GrandstandSportsNetwork.com. And obviously, coming to you live from the studio in One Buffalo, New York. I've been on the podcast on and off throughout the day today and talking about a wide variety of topics inside of, all sports, hockey, a little bit of baseball, a little bit of MMA. And I wanted to bring it back to football, the sport that got me going in terms of all the other sports. That was like my appetizer, and it was a pretty good appetizer to say the least, because it's led me in all sorts of amazing directions, meeting all sorts of amazing people, and has led me to creating this podcast and having people give me feedback and tune in, and it's just been great. So thank you all for tuning in and for submitting your questions, submitting your comments, and thank you to everyone. Thank you. So that being said, I have done a lot of oversight on all 32 teams in the National Football League. Last year, when my show wasn't on the GSN, wasn't on Grandstand Sports Network, what I did 32 teams in 32 days. And what that segment was is each day I profiled one team in the order of the draft picks and kind of hypothesized which picks, which players were these teams going to take. And I really think that I know I'm doing that again. I mean, it was a huge segment for the podcast. It's probably one of the more popular segments that I've ever done on the show. So that will be back. 32 teams in 32 days, brought to you by the Thomas Take Sports Podcast, live on Grandstand Sports Network. And one team that I always am interested in, one team that I know is going to be making moves, is the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I'm not a Dallas Cowboys fan, but I do have somewhat a respect for them based on the fact that they are always in win-now mode. I do respect that. I respect Jerry Jones. He does whatever it takes to win. And when it comes down to it, you got to admire that. The guy's got a gold jacket for that reason. He's a winner. I say that, and there are things that can be said about the Cowboys. They haven't won a playoff game or hadn't won a playoff game or whatever it is in quite some time. But realistically, that star still means a lot in the National Football League. And when the Dallas Cowboys are doing very good, it's good for everybody. It's good for the Cowboys. It's good for the National Football League. It's good for their opposition. It's good for everybody. And at the conclusion of this season, when I finished watching the Super Bowl, when the Eagles defeated the New England Patriots 41-33, the first person, one of the first football people that I thought of was Jerry Jones. And the reason why is because the NFC East Philadelphia Eagles were the fourth team in the NFC East to win the Super Bowl, the last team to do so, the last team that needed to do so in order for all four teams to have a Super Bowl championship. I would bet the house that Jerry Jones was pissed after watching that game. He was probably so angry that the Philadelphia Eagles have a Super Bowl. Not only that, but when he looks at the Philadelphia Eagles as a team throughout the playoffs, he sees they have a franchise quarterback. He sees they're deep at running back. He sees they have a decent offensive line. He sees that they got receivers. They have a strong front seven, a very strong run defense, and a very well-polished pass defense. They're a complete team, and they're going to be for quite some time. So for Jerry Jones, heading into this 2018 NFL Draft, I want to let it be known before 32 teams in 32 days takes place, I want to let it be known that it is now or never for Jerry Jones. It's do or die. And the reason why I say that is because the Eagles are getting better. The Giants could potentially get their franchise quarterback post Eli Manning. I don't know if they're going to do that. Even if they do that, it's not good for the Cowboys. even if they don't and they trade out of that second overall pick and get more picks to make their team better, that is also bad for the Cowboys. And the Washington Redskins are the Washington Redskins. Let's be honest. They're not great, not terrible. They're just somewhere in the 7-9, 8-8 range. But regardless, the NFC East is a tough division. They always show up to play each other for the most part. And Jerry Jones needs to make a power move. In my opinion, at this current juncture, and I know I'm going to have some Cowboys fans listening to this podcast tonight, my opinion, I would move on from Dez Bryant. I would move on from him. I think that his better years are behind him, and getting rid of him, similar to T.O., would only benefit their team at finding the next Dez Bryant or T.O., just like it was with T.O. When they got rid of T.O., they found Dez Bryant. They need to find that next guy, or keep Dez Bryant maybe another year and still find that next guy. The guy that the Dallas Cowboys need in order to become a Super Bowl contender is Calvin Ridley from the University of Alabama. You have Dez, Calvin Ridley, Zeke Elliott, and it would give Dak a target to throw to for the better part of the next 10 years. Now, trading up to do that would warrant some picks in exchange to get that pick to get him, which would probably have to be in the top 5. Or we go another route. We wait, we meaning me as I'm playing Jerry Jones here. We go another route and say that the Dallas Cowboys are willing to venture into the trade market. There's rumors swirling that the Miami Dolphins are looking to trade Jarvis Landry. That could be a possibility. Dallas trading with Miami for Jarvis Landry. Miami's pretty desperate to get that $16 million franchise tag off the books. And Dallas is looking for another receiver. Another option is Dallas venturing into the free agent market for one Sammy Watkins. Now, I know Sammy's got his issues. I know full well Sammy's got his issues. I don't mean mentally, I mean physically. Sammy Watkins is an injury-prone player. There's no two ways about it, no ifs, ands, or buts. But playing on a team where he might not have to take the full load of the lion's share of the targets as a wide receiver could be highly beneficial to him. That thought process rang through the mind of Sean McVay when the Rams acquired Watkins from the Bills. They had already had Robert Woods that they signed in free agency, oddly enough, from the Bills as well. Cooper Kupp, plenty of pieces. Even Todd Gurley was used as a pass catcher quite often this past season. So there are options out there to improve the wide receiver position that are better than Terrence Williams and Cole Beasley. I think Dak Prescott needs much more weapons around him. I think they thought, the success that he had in year 1 would carry over to year 2, when I think it could have had they heightened what was around him, and they didn't. So Dak's, long term, you want to look at the Cowboys too. Long-term cap-wise, Dallas is going to be facing some stuff because from the same draft class, you have Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott, 2 franchise players. Both of those guys are going to get paid. You have some holes on your defense that you need to fill. Jerry Jones has to be as active as possible, along with his son, Stephen Jones, in order to catch up to the Philadelphia Eagles, because the Eagles are the team to beat in that division, not just because of the Super Bowl champions, but because they are better than the Dallas Cowboys before they won the Super Bowl, and especially now after. So the Giants are going to get better. I think this season was a bit of an anomaly. They had a lot of injuries, lost their 3 top wide receivers. Beckham, Brandon Marshall were expected to do big things. They both get hurt. Sterling Shepard gets hurt. Eli Manning made do with Evan Ingram and Wayne Gallman and Orleans Darkwa, and they benched him. Made do meaning did decent. They weren't winning games by any stretch, but did decent with what he had around him, with the little talent that he had around him. They're only going to get better. I really believe that. Pat Shurmur is a great coach, and I think their offense is going to be highly improved in 2018. Plus, they could potentially really lock themselves into getting more picks and more stout players by trading out of that second overall pick. Or they could have a quarterback that Dallas might be forced to face for the next 10 to 15 years. Only time will tell. In terms of Washington, they get Alex Smith. He's going to be there for the next 4 to 5 years. They're going to drip every last drop out of him until he retires or until they decide to look in another direction. But really, for me, for now, Jerry Jones, it is do or die. You got to make a move, man. You got to make a move. And if I'm Jerry Jones, I shut out the noise of Roger Goodell and focus on the Dallas Cowboys. I'm Ryan Thomas. Take care, everybody.